do have winter in Texas, and we also know that it's usually short-lived, so we will enjoy it while we have it, and we will try not to complain too much. I just pray for all the city workers and all those affected by the elements as they work outside as servant leaders to serve this city. We thank you for continuing to work in this city and to bring us together. And as we start looking at the holidays, especially tomorrow, as we look at remembering peace at the end of World War I and continued remembrance to include all of our veterans as we work towards peace, not towards conflict. And we just pray for our world that is torn in conflict, but we pray for peace, continue to even peace amongst ourselves within our own border, that we would work and live together in harmony. And just again, guide and our deliberations tonight. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, we will now be called to order at 5:32. Again, Monday, November 10th. The first item on our agenda is public comments. If anyone wishes to address the council on any city-related business that's not on the agenda, they may do so. The first person I have on here is Mary Garza, who will be talking on action item number 14. So Mary Garza will be later. The next one I have is Steve Dowell, who wishes to address the city on a non-city related issue. So apologies, but it's a non-city. It has to be something that we have jurisdiction over, and we don't have jurisdiction over who votes and how they vote and all that stuff. So again, appreciate you and your candidacy, but this is not a stage that's legal to do that because this is city paid politics. And so anyway.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't draw out any comments or anything. My argument is that you do have influence.
No, jurisdiction, not influence. There's a difference. It's a legal term. And so I apologies. No, that's then, hey, tomorrow's Veterans Day. Go and shake hands and thank a veteran. So appreciate you and your potential service. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
You don't mind if I stick around?
No, please do. No, absolutely. It's an open meeting. Yeah. Yep. Open meeting. All right. Anyone else that wishes to address the city on any item that's not on the agenda? All right. Being nobody else, public comments, we will close public comments. Items 3 through 9 is our consent agenda. These can be enacted by a single motion unless the council wishes to withdraw one. I'm going to read 3 to 9 through for the record, and then if anyone wishes to withdraw one to discuss separately, they may do so. Item 3 is adopting the minutes of the October 14th City Council Workshop, October 14th City Council Meeting, and October 27th Special Called City Council Meeting. Item 4 is authorizing the city manager to execute a 1-year extension to the contract with Waste Management for residential and commercial hand collection solid waste service. Item 5 is ordinance for budget amendment number 2 to the city of Belton fiscal year 2025 annual budget. And Mike Rogers said this is primarily cleanup issue. Item 6 is adopting or approving a facade easement improvement grant application for 222 East Central Avenue located in downtown Belton Commercial Historic District at northwest intersection of East Central and North Penelope. And if people don't know where that is, that's across from Miller's on Penelope. Miller's Smokehouse is doing an expansion there. Item 7 is authorizing an amendment to the agreement with MHS Planning and Design to provide a feasibility study for an indoor recreation center as part of the 2026 Parks Master Plan. Item 8 is adopting a resolution authorizing the police chief to enter into a multi-use agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation, not public safety, Texas Department of Transportation, allowing the installation of automated license plate recognition cameras in the TxDOT right-of-way. And item 9 is approving a resolution authorizing the casting of Belton's 37 votes for representation on the Bell County Tax Appraisal District to go towards Mr. Todd Scott, who's served in that role in prior years. Does the council have any that they wish to remove for separate consideration?
I move we approve items 3 through 9.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items 3 through 9. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Unanimous. All right, item 10. Hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change multifamily to retail on approximately half acre located at 701 Holland Road. Ms. Tina. You may need a stool. I heard you're going to be presenting a few of these things, so.
I will be. All right, this one is right next to the Family Dollar off of Holland Road, across from Shefco's gas station. The property is currently zoned multifamily. We changed that a couple of years ago to allow for a duplex apartment to be constructed there. The applicant is now looking at putting in a food court, playground area for the neighborhood, and possibly a meat market. So this is a mobile food vendor permit, and we have regulations for that. Require it to be in a retail or commercial use. So therefore, the multifamily does not approve that. So this request is to comply with the requirements for the mobile food vendor application. Site improvements will be required, especially if the applicant decides to do more than 2 vendors. We require it to be a food truck park, which kicks in additional requirement for parking, public restrooms, and adequate fire lanes and electrical pedestals for the property. The future land use map has this as a commercial retail area. The city water and sewer is available at this property. We did receive one letter from an adjacent property that had some concern. It was a protest letter. Concerns about increase in noise, lighting, and increase in traffic in the area. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this at their meeting on October 21st and recommended approval of the zoning change. With that, all elements should comply with the retail zoning district. Mobile food vendor must meet all the requirements of the City Code of Ordinance, Chapter 11, mobile food vendor and mobile food vendor park requirements. Any future designs for the meat markets will have to meet all of our design standards. A final plat will be required, as well as all construction plans that meet our city standards. The applicant is here. Should you have any question for the applicants? And I will be happy to take any questions that you have as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Again, this being a public hearing, we will close our deliberation and open the floor for anyone who wishes to speak for or against this item. Floor is open. I didn't have anybody sign up for this one. You don't have to live next to it to have an opinion. All right. There being nobody coming forward to for the public hearing, we will close the floor, the council for action on item 10.
Maximum number would be 2 at this point in time, right?
Correct, for food trucks?
And I don't recall, do we have hours of operation for food trucks?
We do not.
I hope they'd be sensitive to neighbors, especially behind them. Just a comment.
What type of screening is required for?
Usually there is a privacy fence that's required for screening adjacent to the residential neighborhood.
Is it just 6-foot wood?
A 6-foot wood fence, yes.
You have regulations about noise, but how about light pollution? If
Yes, sir. There are regulations on as far as having light available in the parking area. We will always try to make sure that that's shielded from the public road, from the public home. So put it closer to the streetway instead of at the back of the property.
very good, I think that addresses the concerns that were expressed. That said, I move that we approve item 10 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the zoning change at 701 Holland Road.
I'm sorry, I just want to know, are we including the items that were brought up in the motion? No, I just want to make sure the lights and the screening.
It's required. Or
It's already
screening's required.
It's in it's the regulations we have in place. It's not a change from what they're already
It's
expecting.
a straight zoning change with no accommodations.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Item 11, hold a public hearing and consider a zoning change from commercial highway to commercial district 2 on approximately 6 acres located at 6154 West US 190. Christina?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You might recall this property as well. The property owner rezoned it a couple of years ago from agricultural to commercial highway. She is looking to sell the property. And again, this is another prospective zoning as she has a client that's interested in a climate control storage facility. So that's currently not allowed in commercial highway. So she's requesting a zoning change to commercial 2 to accommodate for such use and other wider ranges of uses in this commercial corridor. The future land use map has this zoned as industrial. This is under the Dog Ridge Water Service Area. This is in the city of Belton CCN, however, there is no service over here. We received no letters of support or opposition for the zoning change for this. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this at their meeting on October 21st, and they recommended approval of the requested zoning change. Applicant is here and her representative, should you have any questions for them, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have as well.
Questions? All right, we'll close our deliberation and open the floor for any discussion on this item. The zoning change along 190. All right. Nope, you don't. Just a name and address for the record, so we can get minutes.
My name is Tommy Shaw. I'm with Shaw Properties, P.O. Box 1333, Belton, Texas. We represent the owner on this property. We've been getting a number of calls. As Tina mentioned, we have someone who's interested possibly doing some storage there, but we need to change the zoning on that. And if this doesn't go through, then I'll help us with the next one. So appreciate you guys' help on this.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak in favor or against this item? All right, we'll close the floor and reopen deliberation and consider action on item 11.
Pretty simple. I move we approve agenda item 11 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the zoning change from commercial highway to commercial district 2 for 6154 West US 190. Any other comments before we vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And passes unanimously. Item 12, hold a hearing and consider a zoning change from transition to transition with historic district overlay on approximately 1 acres located at 218 North Alexander Street for the Mount Zion United Methodist Church. Ms. Tina.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. This has been 100 years making. 50 years to be declared a historic site. This has been here for a lot longer than that. This is part of the Imagine Belton district, and this was recently rezoned to transition zoning. Now we just want to recognize this with a historic preservation overlay to protect the improvements that were done to the building previously. This is a nationally recognized historic place. It serves as a religious and cultural landmark for Belton African American communities. And again, the recent rehabilitation ensures that the maintenance and integrity of the historic structure is intact for future generational use of the property. For the flume, this is a part of the Imagine Belton. Water and sewer is available. Letters were sent out to property owners. There were no letters of opposition or support for this application. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this at their meeting on October 21st and recommended approval of this zoning change, and staff concurs with that recommendation. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. Same chapter, different verse. We'll close the deliberations, open the floor for anyone who wishes to speak in favor or against this item. Being no comments, we will close the floor and reopen to consider the zoning change request.
We approve agenda item number 12.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the historic district overlay for Mount Zion United Methodist Church. Any comments before we?
I think it's exciting.
That's great. It's wonderful to see the resources put into that building to keep it from sliding down the hill and keep its historic character. It's pretty awesome. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right. Passes unanimously. Lucky 13, hold a public hearing and consider an amendment to the future land use map from residential to commercial retail land use designation for approximately 3 acres located east of South Wall Street, west of South Beale Street, south of East Avenue K, and north of East Avenue M. Ms. Tina.
Sorry, that was a lot.
That's okay. It's specific.
During a recent zoning change for, you recall the tattoo trade school, staff noticed an inconsistency with the future land use map and the current zoning of the property. The current zoning allows for commercial uses. Most of it is commercial highway or has an SUP or PD to allow for commercial uses of that area. There are some residential development, but all of that area in commercial highway since 2002. The future land use map currently shows that as residential. That's the map in the middle. Our hope is to get this amended to commercial to allow for the continuation of the commercial and also the commercial uses intended for that area along the corridor. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard this at their meeting again on the 21st of October, and they recommended approval of the amendment to the future land use map. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about that.
Just a clarifying question. So in this change of future land use map, you said you were changing it from residential to commercial, but we're not changing the zoning of those residences to commercial. We're just changing the general vision for that area to be commercial.
That is correct. Actually, the zoning is already commercial where the residents.
So the residents are in non-conforming use. Okay, gotcha.
So
So they can continue to do, I guess they're grandfathered.
they are grandfathered in.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, that was my question. All right. We'll go ahead and close our deliberations, open the floor to anyone who wishes to favor or against this item. There being no one speaking in favor or against this item, we'll close the floor and reconvene the council to take action on Lucky 13.
I move we approve item 13 as presented.
We have a motion and a second to approve the future land use map to accurately represent the commercial designation. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Item 15. Consider a final plat for Blair Street townhouses encompassing 1.94 acres located at the northeast corner of Second Avenue and North Blair Street. This is not a public hearing, so this is one where you guys just get to listen to us. So go ahead, Ms. Tina.
Okay, to provide some clarity, I colored the plats to kind of outline what's going on. So the proposal is on 2 acres and they're looking at 33 lots for townhome developments. So the blue area, tract B, is going to be owned by the property owner. That is an alleyway to serve as an access to the properties, and also some commercial development for parking lots, access and egress onto the property. Track A is a drainage area that they are dedicating to the city. At the bottom, closer to Second Street, the yellow area is city-owned property. That is where our detention and improvements are. And there is an area in the back of the applicant's property that will be used as a drainage access easement. Also sewer lines will be in that area as well. All right. So for this applicant plans to connect to an 8-inch water line off of Blair Street. And also for the sewer, there is a connection to a 6-inch sewer line off of Millhouse Street. Per the Imagine Belton standards, both Second Avenue and Blair Streets are designated as urban collector roadway. Both require 70 to 84 feet of right-of-way and an 8-foot sidewalk. Second Avenue, has 8-foot right-of-way and meets some minimum requirements for that. But again, there are city properties into that between that and the city and the applicant's property. Blair Street currently has a 60-foot right-of-way, therefore a 5-foot dedication would be required. However, due to existing undedicated drainage and other flood that's going to be required for that, staff is recommending a variance for the right-of-way dedication. Applicant has requested a variance for the 8-foot sidewalk that's also required along both Blair and Second Avenue. The installation of the sidewalk would impact our drainage improvements that's currently there. It would narrow that channel, possibly impacting downstream runoff in that area. This is an infill site. It's challenging because, again, there are some flood improvements that are required for the property. There's going to be some elevation, some fill to it, and also is in the flood zone. So therefore, they have to construct the buildings to be elevated above that floodplain area. And also the applicant has plans to put in a retaining wall in the back of the property. Here's a proposed design. There is a door at the back. The back area has a garage, is actually an open garage, is a covered parking area for the applicant. There is another door in the front of or the rear of the property that looks like the front that will face Second Avenue.
Okay, help us again. Which the front elevation faces which?
front is facing Second Avenue and the rear elevation is facing the alleyway in the back. For parkland dedication, the applicant is proposing to pay a parkland fee instead of a dedication, and for 33 lots, that's $6,600 for the parkland dedication for this project. The planning and zoning reviewed this at their meeting on the 21st. They recommended approval contingent on addressing city comments from 10. They approved the variance for the 5-foot right-of-way dedication for the street. They also approved the variance for the 8-foot sidewalk requirement off of both Blair and Second Avenue. Compliance with the floodplain development requirements that will be required. Submission and approval of a detailed drainage plan and calculation with the civil construction plan. They approved the payment in lieu of parkland dedication of $6,600. They also approved the abandonment of Walker Street between Second Avenue and the applicant's northern property line. The applicant is here. Should you have any questions for them, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have as well.
All right. Since this is a final plat, there's not a public hearing for this one. Do you guys have any comments or questions? I have a couple. Back to your long list of things. No,
This one,
the last one you had the list. Nope, yeah, that list. All right, so the first one says a variance of the 5-foot right-of-way dedication. So when you say variances, the variance is, it does not require any, so can it be on Blair Street? Or what's the plan?
the plan would be, it would be on Blair Street, but they're asking for a variance to not require that at all. So there would not be any requirement for additional right-of-way dedication.
No, I'm just saying, so I guess I'm asking where, if we don't have a right-of-way dedication, I guess I'm asking about the setback. So since we don't have a right-of-way dedication, the setback's gonna be the same as normal?
Yes, it's based on the property line. So yes, it would have to comply with that. The Imagine Belton standards relax some of the property line. There is a side requirement, I believe, 10 feet from property line.
Okay. And the next one is 8-foot sidewalk requirement on both Blair and Second. So the variance would be, there would be no sidewalks
Correct.
on either one.
Yes, sir.
So what's this, I'll say generally, as we see more traffic, there is no sidewalk along Second. Blair is a big a deal because it kind of goes into a school. I guess maybe it is a big deal because it goes into a school. Do we have any plans for the multimodal?
Not currently. Where the Bell County offices are, there is a little bit of path, but it's not ADA accessible, but there is an area off the roadway that people can use, pedestrian can use to walk.
Okay. Those are my questions.
And did something change? I thought there was talk about the front facing inward and not outward. Am I missing something?
We recommended having the curb appeal off of Second Avenue, so that's why that curb appeal is facing outward to Second,
Okay.
while the back of the property faces the interior access road.
And to get to the front door?
Technically, there are 2 front doors. There's one in the back where the carport is.
Yeah.
Where pedestrians and people that reside in that area would access their apartments. It's kind of hard with all the improvements, upgrades to get access to the actual front. That is going to be part of their backyard.
Okay.
But it will look like the front yard because of that curb appeal.
I do like the appeal much better than thinking they would be the backside of that facing Second.
I will say, I'm not sure how I feel about waiving the sidewalk on Second Avenue, well, really, actually on both, because I mean, with just having gone through doing the Imagine Belton standards, I'm very big on staying consistent.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is where we say downtown, any place where water is running, we're now gonna waive the sidewalk requirement. I would like to be able to stick with the standards we just passed. So I just don't feel really good about waiving that requirement, especially because of the school being right there next to it. You would think anywhere we would, if any place in the downtown, we would want to make sure that requirement stays, it would be where one of the schools are, where it's gonna be highly used.
I tend to agree, but can you remind me but I do agree. But remind me why, we had some discussion about the drainage there in front and I'm sorry, can you just remind me a little bit about what led us to that?
The sidewalk would be where the drainage is. That's the
That's-
problem.
Right.
I'm driven by there. So is it not feasible to, like we've done on
Thanks.
13th, basically
And actually,
carve off a piece that would be for pedestrian or bike traffic along Second? On the north side of Second there?
In the city right away? Possibly.
I'm talking about on the, part of the street. It's extremely wide. But to get off of the street and put a sidewalk in that's the whole channel.
Correct.
That's prohibitive. So what's the alternative? And I think paint on an ultra wide street would make more sense.
It is, but also the Imagine Belton required that to be 70, 84 feet. It's currently at 70. So there's also that restriction of how to also implement some of the other standards for on-street parking that will also is envisioned with the Imagine Belton requirements. But the biggest part, I apologize to answer Stephanie's question, is there is a drainage channel there that is currently used to run water, to mitigate water. If we start going in and making some amendments to it, we are impacting that drainage. There's gonna have to be filled to raise that sidewalk up to be able to accommodate for it. There's gonna have to be a retaining wall and additional requirements to be able to address that. The way that the property is currently leveled. And it, again, could have potential impact to that drainage downstream where we're narrowing that channel. There might be some blockage. So that is also another reason why.
if there was any sidewalk, it'd be in the drainage area or on city property.
On city
I would
property.
assume.
Correct. And again, that yellow area is city property that's between the applicant's property and Second Avenue, where the drainage is.
Yeah, I think we both own this problem. I say both, like it's a public-private partnership. So we've got a drainage easement where they'd like to develop some property. And because of that drainage easement, it puts probably unfair requirements on the person whoever is to do this. It might be worthwhile that we look at a way to, I don't say cap it, but there's a lot of places where you have drainage under subgrade, right? Have a big box channel or something like that. It may be worthwhile for us to look at how can we partner together to work with our drainage fund and our development fund and some sidewalk money that we might have from some other place to maybe invest along with them to come up with a solution and like have to fix it later. Because I agree, especially like 4th of July or when Shuffs is doing some of their concerts and stuff, people are just walking in the street because there is no place for them to walk. And I think, I don't know, that's just my opinion. I think it probably warrants a sidewalk, but it probably doesn't warrant the developer to pay for all of it because there's public need there too. It's just my opinion.
And it's our land,
It is city.
city property.
The yellow currently is city?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
okay.
But I agree with you.
Yeah.
We at least own part of that problem.
Yeah.
And this is a beautiful
A lot.
project to go right there. I wouldn't want it to.
I mean, for the longest time, it's been, for sale and it's a long skinny piece. And this is great for Imagine Belton.
It is.
And to get that kind of infill in downtown is really a good thing. I don't think we want to be in disincentive.
I agree.
Some type of collaboration or study.
What would we need if we wanted to say, hey, let's work on this together till we can get a side? And I don't know, even if we just dedicate some of the money that they're putting towards the park land to be towards sidewalk or drainage mitigation. I don't know. I don't want to hold them up, but
One thing you could do is just not wait sidewalk right now, doesn't mean you can't. work
Yeah.
on Doing something in the future.
So-
That's if you, I'm not saying yay or
Yeah.
nay, I'm just saying that would be how you could prove to go forward. And then in the interim,
and then we would have to work with staff and them to figure out how can we get a sidewalk in there.
Applicants here, I know they've studied it pretty thoroughly. I don't know if if you'd like to make any comments or add anything to the discussion at this point in time.
Anything you say can and will, no, I'm sorry. That's a different part.
Texas. We're not opposed to a sidewalk. It's just finding the space for the sidewalk. As we've all discussed, the drainage has been there forever. That's to the city's benefit, but it impacts our property and our ability to put that. We can't cross the drainage to get to a sidewalk. That makes no sense. And if we put the sidewalk curbside, that's city property. So we're more than happy to work together. I would really prefer not to delay because we're already 6 months behind due to prior delay, these sorts of things, which we've worked through now with staff. But we don't have a problem with it as long as the city is willing to work within the scope of their land, because there's just no room left, on the other side. And it would really take a partnership of some sort to determine how to maintain the drainage flow to not offset a problem, bigger problem down the road, and still accomplish that. So that's gonna have to be city engineering and, get those guys together. So I'd love a final plat so we can move forward to construction drawings.
Yep.
But, we're not opposed to this. We're just not quite sure we can't build on your land, so.
Yeah, that's hard, yeah. You, okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
So we can approve it without waiving the sidewalk. What was the other item to be waived?
With some input or some assistance from the drainage fund.
Yeah, we'd have to work together. So
Would that then?
What is the motion
back
doing?
for an approval?
I think the motion is to approve the final plat with all the recommendations minus the sidewalk. An acknowledgement that the city owned property would have to be the location for the sidewalk. And then we would have to work on it. So we'd have to somehow work that into the motion.
Okay.
And be broad enough for the city to work on it. And if for whatever reason the city can't do that, then we can come back in second. Because we've approved of the.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a reasonable approach, basically, if Dana would agree to that, basically, and council supportive, basically approve the final plat without the waiver of the sidewalk, the variance of the sidewalk. Let us look at it internally and see if we can work out a cooperative solution. If we cannot, we'll come back to the council and recommend a final action on sidewalk.
Well, I think to her point, I think what the final action would be not to hold her up, so allow for the final plat to be there.
Right.
With a asterisk, and if
Mhm.
that goes away, then we need to look at something on the other side of the curb
Right.
or something.
Mhm.
Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I move we approve the final plat with all recommendations, except for the, except for the sidewalk variance. And also our commitment to work through the drainage fund to make some type of easement or improvement for all.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, and a second. Before we vote, she did sign up for public comments for a non-agenda item. And she does have public comments on an agenda item that didn't have public comments. So, to be fair, I think we need to let you have 3 minutes to say what you wanted to say. We'll just pretend it was at the beginning of the meeting.
Good catch.
Well done.
So I'm Mary Garza, and I'm at 104 North Pearl Street. And I'm really here just to kind of beg city council to think of Belton in a different view than you're thinking of it today. Rerouted coming home from Dallas to see my son through this beautiful little town that I fell in love with. It had beauty, it had charm, it was inviting, it felt like community instantly. I don't feel this project fits that. I'm scared that we're going to take an opportunity to build a beautiful town into a commercial, overcrowded feeling. It's a plea more than anything else. I'd like you to consider that. If it was half the size, I could kind of see it still charming, but it doesn't seem to fit the Imagine Belton. It doesn't seem to fit what I saw when I was driving through here that made me fall in love. Not only me, but I honestly met lots of people that feel just like I feel. We have something very special here that we need to protect, and we need to keep it
as beautiful as it is. I know there's always incentive to grow and have things, become commercial and so forth, but you're not going to have this town again. You really won't. It'll go away and it won't be the same. That's heartfelt, and hope you see that. I mean it sincerely. I would love for this town to stay charming, sweet, family, and not overcrowded. That's all I had to say.
Thank you. All right. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions before we vote? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. And we hear your comments,
Yes,
we
we
hear your
do.
sentiment. We have the same feeling. So, all right. Last item, item 15, hold a public hearing and consider approval for of an ordinance on second and reading granting commercial solid waste collection franchise to Frontier Waste Solutions.
Received a request from Frontier Waste Solutions for a commercial franchise for solid waste collections. Two areas of focus at this time would be commercial collection and their roll-off dumpster service. Commercial solid waste rates are market driven. This is approximately our 8th or 9th commercial franchise. Takes 2 readings and a public hearing by charter to get a commercial franchise, and all commercial franchises are co-terminus on January 26, 2030. Recommend that you hold a public hearing and approve this franchise on second and final reading.
All right, this being a public hearing, we will close our deliberations, open the floor to any public comments about Frontier Waste Solutions becoming another franchisee of the city for for solid waste collection. There being no comment from the floor, we'll close the floor and we will reopen the council for deliberations to approve this on the second and final reading. Chair would entertain a motion.
Move forward to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve on final reading, Frontier Waste Management Solutions. Any other comments before we vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, guys. We stand adjourned. 6:10.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're dealing with the dog light.
I think you had a grand opening.
Thanks, sir. Time flies. when you're having fun.
Steph, you okay?
That's a fact, Mayor.
Oh, yeah, I gotta sign all that stuff.
Hanging in there.
It's small. Like you downtown, there's a lot of buildings like this. It's very sensitive. I'm sorry. And Old Town. I'm glad. I'm glad you're here.
We hear you. We really do. And we